Hi there, welcome. My name is Amanda, but you can call me Mandy, and I own, run, and operate Mandy's Essential Musings on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. And I'm a doTERRA wellness advocate. So these are my oil vlogs, my business vlog. This is vlog number 4. And thank you for joining me. Today is going to be an interesting one because I want to tackle where I'm at right now in the business and what I plan on doing on moving forward. So yesterday I recorded a vlog. Today is June 30th. It's 5:30 p.m. And last night, technically this morning, I recorded a vlog. It should already be up, vlog number 3. If I can figure out how to link it in the corner, it should be up in the corner. If not, it'll be down below. So you can watch it if you'd like to. And I was kind of talking about where I am and what I've been doing. And honestly, I was feeling a little stuck. And so being able to talk to you helped me figure out where I'm going to be and kind of gave me a starting point. So I do apologize for all the Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff in the background. If you look very carefully, there's also like all kinds. We're in my boyfriend's office. So what I have done is today I have been reaching out to some doTERRA friends of mine and my accountability partner from Oil Games, and then a friend of mine, and we have been having conversations about Oil Games and just the business in general. And I've been looking really introspectively at what I said last night and where I am right now in the business. So I have come up with a plan on how I'm going to take the reins back on my business. I haven't really worked on the business effectively in the last couple of weeks, and I want to do that. So I have a starting point, and this vlog is actually going to be a little bit more put together than some of my other ones. I wrote a little outline. That way you guys can know where I'm coming from, and it's not kind of all over the place. But if you have any questions, or if you're watching this in the future, hi. I just want to show where I am and how I got to where I hope I'll eventually go. So if you're here in like the year, 2023, and I'm a presidential diamond, like give me a shout out in the comments, because that's my goal. As of right now, I'm an elite, and I'm not a solid elite. I've hit elite the last 2 months, but the only reason I've hit elite is because of the amount of money I'm spending. Honestly, if you're familiar with the back office, you have your personal PV, which is your personal product value points, and then you have your OV, which is the overall product value of your entire team. So what you spend goes into what your team spends. And the only reason I've hit elite the last 2 months is because of the amount that I've spent. And that's not effective team building. Or, I know that. So what we're going to talk about is some things that I'm working on to try to get better. And I want to be a premier. So my goal is to be a premier by October 2020. I'm actually currently in Oil Games for Premier Push. So you're supposed to ideally do everything they tell you and hit Premier by the end of the program. It's a 2-month program, so you should hit Premier by the end of July. That isn't going to happen for me. I know that for a fact, because I don't have a solid elite team. And I probably should have joined the Reach Elite program so I could have gotten the fundamentals. So if you're currently watching this and you're like, which program do I be in? I think you need to really evaluate your team and see where you're at. And if you know that the only reason you've hit that rank is because of BOGOs, that's the reason I first hit elite, is because of BOGOs. And I looked at it the night before and I go, oh my God, I'm $200 away from hitting elite. So I went in and I spent $200. It's like, I'm hitting elite. I've never been that close before. And I kept doing that. So as of right now, we have a few hours left in the month, unless someone makes a $300 purchase, which is possible. I do have some leads out there who I've sampled, but unless someone calls me up like right now to make a purchase, I'm not hitting a lead again, because, or at least not this month. And I think I'm okay with that. I mean, going for Founders Club, I'd really like to hit a lead again so I can get those points. But that's a separate topic and a separate discussion. Today we're talking about where I'm at in the business and where I'm going. So, let me tell you what's going on in my life to make things a little bit more understandable. So I signed up for Oil Games, and 2 days after I signed up for Oil Games, I got a phone call telling me that I was going back to work in 2 weeks. So what that meant is a week into Oil Games, I went back to work. And I had been unemployed for almost 3 months due to everything that's going on in the world in 2020. And it was extremely overwhelming trying to go back to work and start this huge educational thing and figure out how to properly run the business, as well as doing this education, as well as getting back into the swing of things at work while trying to wear a mask for 8 hours. And then that same week, my sister was getting married on Saturday. So when I was getting home from work, I wasn't focusing on doTERRA. I was trying to do what I could to help there. So it's just kind of a huge mess. So that was week 2. And then I tried to catch up. I got sick, and I'm totally okay. But it just kind of threw me off again, and that was week 4. And so now we're going into week 5, and I'm really behind. And honestly, last night I sat down and I looked at where I was at. I'm going to show you what I've done so you can see what I'm working with and what I'm trying to do. So this is my Oil Game notebook. I have notes from absolutely every day. Like, here's day 4, and I just go through and I look at my daily notes. And during the second week, I kind of stopped doing daily notes, but I was still listening to the daily assignments, and then I was trying to like write notes, and so I kind of have like half notes, and I'll show you like my half notes. Here's day 10 and my half notes from day 10. Like, I sort of kind of have notes, but I also have like big sections where there's not notes because I've left myself spots to go back. So what I did was put together a strategy for me to go through everything. And I printed out the outline. I actually printed out 3 copies of this outline. My business is kind of, I don't have like a solid place where I do my business. I have my house, and then this is my boyfriend's place. And I also am trying to do the business on like my lunch break or like before work or after work. So I'm bringing everything with me. So I have like things at my house for the business, and then I have some stashes here. Right now I'm in the middle of putting together some samples. So I actually have his table completely taken up. I don't know if you can see, I have like samples kind of laid all over, and there's my oil case. So I have like things I travel with, things I have here, and then things I have at my house. But my house is like my main place I'm trying to do business. So I actually printed 3 schedules, or 3 program outlines, 1 for my house, 1 that I carry with me because I've been carrying my Oil Games book with me, and then 1 for my boyfriend's house. And then I went through and I looked at the days and I set them on a calendar to make things easier for myself. And then what I'm going to do is go back through the calendar and write some names on the calendar, and I'll talk about that later. And I went through and I wrote daily schedules for each day. So I went through each day of the games and wrote down everything we're supposed to do for each day. So this is later this week. This is, I guess this is this is later this week. This is day 23, day 24, and day 25, which is July 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And so I wrote down each thing I need to do for each day. And so I have a place to check off when I listen to it. And then I went over here and I created myself a little notebook, or a little, I don't know what you call these, bookmark. There we go. I created myself a little bookmark with some positive affirmations and some of my goals on the back, so I can look at the day on the schedule that I'm trying to make sure I have notes for, and then I can go to that part and make sure I have the correct notes for that. I know a lot of people are like, well, you're listening to the content, why do you care about writing notes? I'm definitely one of those people where I need to go back and look at things. Just writing it doesn't help me remember, but like rereading it really helps. And if I like, oh, I remember we talked about scheduling success on like day 2, I can go and look at that. And I say that because I'm currently looking at scheduling success on day 2. But that really helps me. So that's one of the reasons I've also left more room. And I can show you, like, I have some super detailed notes on day 4, and I've just gone through and I've written my notes on day 4, but I have pages that are empty. So if I decide to go back through and add to these from conversations I've had or other things that I'm learning regarding whatever the topic is, I can just add it on the other page, and I'll date it so I know that it came from a different place, but it's all from the same topic. So I hope some of that makes sense. So what I did last night is I went through the entire schedule of oil games, and I wrote down everything you were supposed to do on every day. And then I went and I looked at my notes to see where I was at with my notes and to figure out where I needed to work on what. And so what I did was I wrote myself a master catch-up list. And I looked back on the day's notes that I wanted to improve upon, and then the days I needed to look at. So right now, I'm like, there are days I listen to, but I wasn't consistently listening to everything. Like, I'd go to work and I'd listen to half of a podcast on my way to work, and I'd try to listen to the rest on my lunch. And so I'd get like 2/3 of the way through a day. And then I just move on to the next day. So I'm not completely caught up on each of the daily assignments, and each day is 2 or 3 daily assignments. And most of it's just listening to things, and learning. And then there are things you have to sit down and do. Reach out to your upline and schedule continuing education. I'm in Premier Push, so it's all about continuing education and educating people. But then each day you're supposed to reach out to 4 different people. And so I'm behind on that as well. And so in my master catch-up list, I wrote 4 different sections of people that I need to reach out to. So people I have to put together samples for, people to reach out to that I've already sampled, and then new contact people. And so I have reached out to people from the beginning, but because I'm not sure how many people I've reached out to, and each day it wasn't 2 people, or 4 people, 2 on each list, 2 new, 2 I've already spoken to, I need to go back and review all of that and figure that out. So that's kind of where I'm at. There's a lot more to that, some extra things, but that's part of me catching up. I just kind of want you guys to know where I'm at on scheduling, so we can dive into everything else. This is going to be a really long one, so I really appreciate it if you're still here after 14 minutes of me just explaining my schedule. Okay, so that's how I'm trying to get back on track with this. And one thing I learned in college was, and I absolutely hated this at the time, but I completely understand it now, is even if you don't know what to do, you just keep moving. Even if it's not like in the right direction, if you have some kind of momentum, eventually you'll find forward momentum. So I have kind of stonewalled myself with oil games, and I could literally give up right now because I'm like, oh, I'm super behind and, you know, there's no way to catch up and blah, blah, blah. But that's why I'm not putting the cap on myself of be premiere by the end of July, because it's not going to happen. For me to do that, I'd have to sign up like maybe 10 people, and I need at least one of them to be a committed and capable builder. Like, I am having such a hard time doing that. And I don't know what I'm looking for, and that's one of the reasons I'm here, because I want to learn. So I'm just going to keep moving. And even if it's not in the right direction, eventually, hopefully it will be. And just to think about how much progress I've made in the short amount of time I've been doing this business. I mean, if you think about it, you take away the time that I haven't been working, or I've just been thinking about working, I've really only been building this business for like 6 weeks. And I'm already an elite, which is crazy because I've been in the business for 2.5 years, but I've been dragging my feet. So I'm going to stop doing that, because there's no way I can be successful if I keep dragging my feet. And I am at a point where I want to help people. This is what I want to do. I absolutely love doTERRA. I believe in I honestly, truly believe in the mission, and I want to do this. So I'm not going to stop, and I'm going to keep moving forward. Okay, so I am working on trying to get the planning and all of that figured out. I need to work on scheduling. That'll be a topic in a few minutes. But last night, what I did was I went through everything like I told you, and I also started listening to leadership. I don't know how long I'm going to have access to that. I paid for it in April, and I watched a little bit of it, but I am going to continue watching more of it. Please excuse me. My face is really itchy. I'm going to grab some oil. So I listened to leadership yesterday, and have listened to a lot of the oil games. And it's so funny that even though there are different people running these things, that so much of it is so similar. That is a brand new bottle, and that did not want to come out. So there we go. This is Immortal, just in case you're curious. It's the anti-aging blend, and it actually has frankincense and lavender in it. So I have like this really itchy part on my nose, and even though it's not meant to help calm and alleviate skin issues, frankincense and lavender is really, really helpful for calming irritatedness. I hope that's compliant. But those two oils are incredible. It's the end of June. This was the free product of the month if you spent $200. So it's a great oil. Anyways, so I went through and I was listening to leadership, and I actually listened to doTERRA for Men, which was the third breakout session in the April leadership of 2020. And it was so interesting how much of what they were saying lined up with what Elise says in oil games, and what I've learned. 2 of the sessions so far for oil games have been about mindset, and for the doTERRA for Men, it was specifically formulated for men, but it was they were talking about building the business your own way and different ways to be successful. And they were telling these men and giving them examples about how they as men built their businesses. But so much of it can be applied to anybody, because this is a business and you need to figure out what works for you. So one of the many things that they talked about is mindset. And it's so crazy how, like, I haven't reached out to anybody. I decided last night I went to go to bed at 11 o'clock and I couldn't sleep, so I came in here into Nick's office and I started working on the business. And this morning I reached out to a friend of mine and my accountability partner and just let them know what I was doing with the business. I reached out to them before I went to sleep this morning, and like an hour after I laid down, somebody reached out to me for samples. Like, I'm not kidding. And it's so crazy because I haven't done anything. I haven't posted on Instagram or Facebook, and someone reached out to me asking for samples and asking if I had oils to help them with some things that they were going through. And it's so insane, because why would they reach out to me literally an hour after I told 2 different people that I'm working on the business, I'm getting myself caught up on oil games, and I'm ready to dive back in. And here's this person who's like, hey, I want to learn. And I would like to try this oil. And one of the speakers, I don't know if I'll be able to find his name, was talking about how he dove into the business and hunkered down, and it was kind of like people started coming to him, and people who he'd been working with and trying to get in, and just, you know, it wasn't working, finally were like, yeah, I'm ready. And I honestly think that's what this business is. I literally just listened to something Elise said on Oil Games, where she was talking about how she was working, trying to cultivate new leads, and just wasn't getting anything. And then all of a sudden, all these people started getting back to her, and she had so many people she didn't even know she had time to help them all. And I get that, like, not to that level, but at the beginning of the month, I think that's one of the reasons I kind of stopped with trying to build. I had 4 people reach out to me for samples on Instagram within hours of each other, and I was having the same conversation with people, and I was just like, I haven't posted in a couple of days, like, where are these people coming from? And I've also kind of failed those people because I haven't sent them samples, so that's something that we'll talk about later in this video, because it's going to be a long one. But I think that your mindset honestly truly matters, because if you're ready, they'll be there and people will come find you. I'm building through an online presence. You don't have to. There are people that do, there are people that don't, there are people that come up with systems in place where they are able to do both. But I am, or at least I'm trying to, and it's been helpful to me having people come to me through Instagram and Facebook when they're interested, because I am so afraid of alienating friends by going, hey, I have this oil, it can help you. Like, you know, I don't want to be that annoying friend that's like, buy my thing, buy in under me. If they're ready to accept the amazing, wonderful things that oils can do for them, I'm here to help. And if they're interested in building the business, I would love to help them do it, especially if there's someone I love and care for. But I also don't want to be in their face, and I don't want to alienate someone I love because of money. So that has nothing to do with mindset, but anyways, so I'm trying to work on like where I am and what I want with the business, and that's why I sat down last night and tried to figure it out. And so what I did, as I'm rustling papers, you're welcome, was create this. This is a piece of paper from a notebook pad I gave to my boyfriend at the very beginning of our relationship. It says life begins with coffee. I don't like coffee. So I was like, I need something to try to keep a place between where I am on my schedule and where I am in my notes. And so I wrote down some positive things on it. I wrote down life begins when you believe in yourself. I believe oils can change lives, just like they changed mine. My life is incredibly different because of essential oils. I haven't really done a video on what oils have done for me. If you're interested, please let me know. I would love to do a video on that. And then I wrote, I can do this. I think the hardest part right now, especially where I'm at, is I do have some wellness advocates underneath me who could help me build the business, but they're currently at points where they aren't. And some of that is on me, and a lot of that is just, it took me 2.5 years to decide to build this business. It's really a cultivation of where you are and where you want to be and where you are in your life. So I'm not going to push people to build a business if they aren't ready to. So it's kind of frustrating though, because I feel like it's just me. I know it's not, because there's people above me and there's people beneath me. But it's just, I'm at a point where if I'm not building and I'm not working, I'm not making any money. And how do I balance that with my life and all of that? I work full time. I have a life outside of doTERRA. So how do I schedule that? And so that's one thing I need to work on, is scheduling, and all of that to help me try to get to my goals. And my goals are written on the back of this thing. So some of that I've already shared with you. So I want to reach Premiere by October 2020. I'm not too picky when I say by October. It can be October 25th. It can be October 31st at 11:59 p.m. I don't care. But I want to hit Premiere because I think that'll give me enough time to build Elite. And I also feel like it'll give me enough time to be solid in Elite and to be able to help other builders if and when I get someone who's ready. I want to reach silver by January 2021. I want to reach silver by the end of January. My diamond upline thinks I can do it before then. I just want to do it in time to be eligible for Diamond Club. And I think January is the cutoff line. I think it was this year at least, but I'm not sure. And then I want to be in Diamond Club in 2021. If not 2021, I totally get it. Then I'd be totally fine to do it 2022. But I want to do it. So, yeah, that's where I'm at, dear. And then, I want to be diamond by the end of 2021. By December 31st, 2021, I want to be a diamond. I want to get to a point where I don't have to figure out how to balance doTERRA with my job. I want doTERRA to be my job. I have seen the incredible things that this business has done for people, and I really want to help people, and I want this to be something that I can do. So I have turned this into my little notebook, or my little bookmark That way I have my goals in my face every day as I'm working on oil games. So that's that part. And then I don't want my life to get in the way of my building, which is kind of hard, especially with everything that's going on. So scheduling is where that's going to come in. And it's one of the very first things we talked about in Premier Push is trying to figure out the right way to schedule. And I think that's different for everyone. Sorry, I dropped my notes. But I need to sit down, and I think I'm going to ask for help and figure out how to put in my work schedule and my family events and all of that, and then try to schedule out time to work on doTERRA. There's also some people, it was something we talked about in Premier Push, it was something we talked about in the leadership, was morning routines and like establishing a morning routine to help propel you into the day. I'm not a morning person. My morning routine is not to be late for work and to get up before noon if I'm not working. So it's like, I don't really have a morning routine. Like, how am I going to do that? But I think it's definitely something that I need to work on, because you see these extremely successful people and they're getting up in the morning and they're making their bed and they're doing morning yoga or meditation, morning prayers, and they're starting their day out positively, because by the time they leave the front door to go to work, they've already done like 6 things, you know, their morning workout or whatever. When I'm running out the door, I'm 5 minutes late. I have forgotten some stuff. I might have grabbed lunch, and I very, very rarely have grabbed breakfast to eat. And my makeup's probably not done. Like, that's the morning person I am. So I feel like if I can get myself up, especially with where we are right now, I'm working reduced hours. I work in retail, so we're not at where we were before all of this. And so if I can get myself to be getting up at where I was getting up before work, or before all of this, you know, my alarm's going off at 6:30. I'm actually getting up at 6:30. I'll have like 3.5 hours before I even need to start getting ready. And if I can actually get myself to do that, I think that would be very beneficial for myself. So that's one thing. And then I'm reading my notes to see what I might have missed. And I also want to talk about building my own way. So this is a conversation I had with my friend Kelsey, who I'm struggling with building within the framework that they're giving us. Not struggling because it's hard, but struggling because of time. And I've already told you that I'm behind. And this is how I was as a student, honestly. Like, I'd be behind, and then I'd, you know, try to shove everything in before the final exam, and, you know, I'd do okay. So what I'm trying to do is